Okay, so in this episode we'll be looking at buttons and icons. So I'm going to delete this whole thing again. Okay, I'll leave the container. So buttons. So you just have the container. If the container is empty, it doesn't have a child, it will just fill the entire screen. Okay, so we have so many types of buttons in Flutter. I mean, with the newer versions, some were renamed. So we have elevated buttons, we have outline outlined button, we have filled button, we have text button, we have icon button, we have what else? Okay, let's just stick to this. We will discover more as we go along. So these are some of the buttons we can use in Flutter. So we first look at elevated button. So basically I'm just going to change this into white. So child is elevated button. Now you see it is underlined because there are compulsory parameters you need to add to this. So we have the named parameter unpressed is required, and then we have the child is also required. So you see missing required argument, the rest are not compulsory. So you can, if you look at the definition of the class or the widget, you can see required unpressed, which is a function, and then required widget child, which is a widget. So first we add unpressed, and we add an anonymous function over here. So this is an empty function. Okay, and then this is an empty function just to fill our unpressed. So the next one we are going to do is a child. So if you create the button, what should be the child? So the child here, we are just going to put text, and we are going to say okay, or let's just say save. So when you make your changes, you see a button here says save. Now you see the button is having the theme of this brown thing. So if we are to go back to our material and to change our seed color, because of our scaffold, so if we change the scaffold, the background color to, let's say, orange, it didn't even apply. Let me restart. It didn't even apply. Okay, so you don't worry. So it automatically gets this color. So this is the button. Now if we want the button to fill a weight or give it a dimension, there are many ways to achieve that, but one way is to wrap it inside a container or a sized box. Okay, basically a sized box is just an empty box. It only takes weight, height, and then a child, which none of it is compulsory. Okay, so we just want to expand this image here, then we are going to put this, or let me just do it separately. Let's where is that thing? To control, and then select this, control, then full stop. This thing comes, and then I'll say wrap in size box. Okay, so with this size box, I'll just give it a width. So if I want the image to be, let's say, 200 wide, I'll just do this. the button, and you see that the button's weight has increased to 200. Let's see the height, and let's see 80. So this is what happens. Okay, so you can actually use this to give the size to a button, any button you create. Okay, another approach is to use the style property. So you can call style here, and then this takes elevated button dot, you see, style from. So you see style from, there are many properties you can add over here. So let's look at the first one. Let's look at the width. No, we have size. So we have fixed size, we have maximum and then minimum. So let's look at fixed size. So you say size, we call size because you are going to take two parameters, that's the width and then the height. So you are going to give it a width of 200 and then the height of 50. Okay, and when we do that, it applies the size to this. If you go ahead and give this a height of, let's say, 150, it does this. Okay, so that's basically how to add size to it. You can go ahead and say background color, that is the background color. Okay, so you can say colors that blue, and the whole color changes. And then we can go ahead and add a foreground. Where am I? Foreground color, and I'll say colors dot white. So when we do this, this is what happens. We give it a background color of blue and then foreground color of white. Now this is an elevated button. I'm not sure you're going to see this, but if this was running on a physical device, when you tap on it, you see there's this ink splash thing. You see that the button has elevated, like it is raised. Okay, so there's that property we can add here and see, is it here? No, you can add in here and see elevation. Okay, so elevation is how raised the button is. That means it will cast a shadow underneath it. So I'll say elevation 0, and then we are going to see this image becomes flat, this button. Now if I say 10, you see it raises, and now there's a shadow underneath. The bigger the elevation, the bigger the shadow. Okay, 100 is crazy, so let's give something like 5, and you see there's a nice shadow underneath. So basically, yeah, now instead of using this, I'm stopping contain. I'm just going to use center. It's a widget, and as the name says, it's just going to put our child in the center. Okay, to center. So this is an elevated button, and then these are the properties. Now this style from properties are available for all the types of buttons. So if you go to outline button, this basically, let me just delete this. So outline button is just the same thing, but then by default it has a border around it. So I'm just going to delete or comment out the colors so that you can see the default. Oh, and then the shadow. So this is the outline button by default. Okay, it's just create a button with a border. Yeah, that's that, and then your text is inside. So you can go ahead and then, you know, add all this. But then if you want to customize the, but we are still using elevated button here, so you can just change this to outline button. This style from, and then the properties are available to all the buttons, so you can quickly do that. Now if you want to change the radius or whatever, you can use the side, not the radius, sorry, the color. You can use the size, the side, and here this thing takes excellent border side, and we say color. So color, I will say colors dot, let me use red, and so the border becomes red. So let me comment out these colors, and then the shadow too. So the border becomes red. Now if you want to increase the border, you can add the width to that. So I will say 5. That's the thickness. So this is 5. Don't do this, never do this. You can say 10, and it becomes that thick. If you say 1, it becomes that simple. So you can play around with it, but please don't use 10. And then there's the style by default it is solid. Okay, so you have solid and then none. If you choose none, the border will just go away. If you choose solid, you are going to have a solid border. So it's just that simple. And this property can be applied to outline button, elevated button. Then that means you have to do all this by yourself. So we have filled button, which also has that. So I'm going to comment out this side. What is this? Why is my existing not formatting? Well. So I'm commenting this thing out. Okay, so this by default. Now if I change outline button to filled button, to change this one to filled, and you see by default it is filled with a certain color. Okay, go ahead and try text button and then icon button. But one thing, there's a difference in the icon button, and the difference is this. So let me see, icon button. So if you choose an icon button here, it doesn't take a child. Because automatically the child should be an icon. So the required parameter is icon. So this is the icon. So this is how you add an icon to it. So you say icon, okay, and then into brackets icons dot the name of the icon. So I'll just say favorite. So if I do this, I put in the heart, whatever. Now I can come here, and then is it background color, foreground color, and I can change this to red, and let's see. So we have this, but this is not necessary, because you can just inside here say color and say colors the red, and it will apply the same. So you are not even going to need this style in the first place. So you just keep it clean like that. And if you want to increase the size, you can just use icon size. By default I think it's 24. 24. So you can, let's say, go to 48, 72. So you can have it that big. And there are many parameters you can play with. I can't teach you everything. So that's the difference between the icon button and then the other buttons, text button, the rest. So basically this icon button, you see, it accepts a tap. Okay, if you tap on it, it reacts to it. So it's a button with an icon. So if you have something like a like button or anything, if you want to click an icon to perform a function, you use the icon button. Okay, if you just want an icon, you just take out this button, take out this on press, take out this, take out this to so let me add constant to this. So basically, if you want an icon, now let me explain one thing. I said the commas are used to make it look nice. So we have icon as a widget, and then the icon to be shown is favorite. Now there are so many icon packs that you can use. Okay, so here I'm going to import Cupertino icons. So when I import this, I can use icons for iOS, and that, how do you say, so you see Cupertino icons dot add or whichever. So this is iOS icons. Okay, so if you say hat, it will give you the same icon, but the names are different. Wherever you are, the names are different. So in the default icon I was using, it was favorite. Here it is hat, or you can get hat filled. So you are getting this hat slash, you get all that. You get save. Do you have save? No, you don't have save. To search, so you have all of these icons. You can change the color and then play with it however you want. So basically this is all about icons and then buttons. All right, bye.